In a quiet corner of the world, surrounded by tall, unshakable mountains, there lay a small, forgotten village. Life in that place moved slowly. Shepherds called out to their flocks, women carried water from the well, and children ran barefoot on dusty paths. But among them lived a young man who could not find peace no matter where he looked. His name was Marco. He was 24, but his face bore lines of constant worry, and his eyes carried a restlessness that never slept. To outsiders, Marco seemed like any other villager, strong, healthy, able to work. But inside his head lived a storm that never ended. Every day, thoughts flooded him like waves crashing against rocks. Sometimes memories of his past rose up. The mistakes he had made, the things he had lost, the shame he carried. Other times, fears of the future clawed at his heart. What if he failed? What if disaster struck? What if tomorrow only brought more suffering? Day after day, Marco's chest felt heavy. He could not rest. He could not sleep. Even when the village laughed and celebrated, he stood aside, trapped in his own mind. Some villagers whispered that Marco was cursed. Others thought he was simply weak. But only Marco knew the truth. He had forgotten how to live. One evening, as Marco sat alone in the marketplace, he overheard two travelers speaking in hushed tones. They spoke of our mysterious old man who lived far away, hidden in the silent hills. He was once a great psychologist in the city, said one traveler, his voice low, as though sharing a dangerous secret. They say he could calm even the most troubled mind, said the other. But he gave up everything, the fame, the money, the city life. Now he lives in solitude close to nature. Some call him mad, others call him a sage, but those who return from his village, they return changed. Marco's heart skipped a beat. For the first time in years, a spark of hope flickered within him. Could this old man help him? Could he silence the storm? That night, Marco lay awake staring at the wooden beams above his bed. The thought grew stronger until it was impossible to ignore. I must go. Even if the journey kills me, I must find him. Without saying a word to his family or friends, Marco set out the next morning. The journey was not easy. He crossed a wild forest, where the shadows of tall trees whispered like voices in his ear. He climbed on rocky mountains, where sharp winds cut through his clothes. He waded across micy rivers, where the current threatened to pull him under. Days turned into weeks. His shoes tore apart. His hands bled from climbing. His body weakened. Many times he thought of turning back. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw the storm inside his head, and he knew if he returned without answers, he would be lost forever. At last, on the car's 7th evening, when the sun was melting into the horizon, Marco reached a quiet village hidden in mist. There was something unusual about this place. The air was so still that even the birds were silent, as if guarding a sacred secret. At the far end of the village, Marco saw a small wooden house, covered in vines and surrounded by wildflowers. On its porch, an old man sat motionless. His eyes were closed, and yet his presence was commanding, as if he had been waiting for Marco all along. Marco approached slowly, his voice trembling. "Grandfather, my mind is restless. My heart is never calm. I cannot stop thinking. I cannot live like this. Please help me." The old man opened his eyes. They were deep, calm, and strangely luminous. For a moment, Marco felt as if those eyes could see into the very depths of his soul. "So, you seek peace," the old man said softly. "Peace that you believe you have lost." Marco nodded desperately. "Yes, grandfather. I cannot take this anymore. Please show me the way." The old man gave a faint smile. "Then I will give you a task. A small one. But remember, if you truly listen, this task may change your life forever." The old man picked up a clear glass and filled it with water. He poured carefully until the glass was full to the very brim. So full that even the slightest tremor could spill it. He handed it to Marco. "Take this glass," he said, his voice calm yet commanding. "Walk from here to the edge of the village and return. But not a single drop must fall." Marco's hands trembled as he accepted the glass. "That's all?" he asked, confused. "That's everything," the old man replied. Marco took a deep breath and began his walk. The walk of distractions. The road was narrow and uneven. Stones shifted under his feet. Children ran past him laughing, their voices shrill. Dogs barked wildly, pulling at their ropes. Shopkeepers shouted, calling customers to their stalls. A donkey brayed. A cart squeaked. Every corner of the village was alive with noise and movement. Marco's heart pounded. His arms ached from holding the glass steady. Sweat ran down his forehead. Yet he did not look at the children, nor the dogs, nor the merchants. His entire being was focused on one thing, the trembling water in his hands. Minutes stretched into eternity. Each step felt like walking on the edge of a blade. But somehow, step by step, breath by breath, Marco made it back to the porch. The revelation. Grandfather, he said breathlessly, holding up the glass. I did it. Not a single drop spilled. The old man nodded, his eyes gleaming. Good, but tell me, Marco, while you walked, did you see the children playing by the road? Marco blinked. No. Did you hear the dogs barking? No. Did you notice the setting sun painting the mountains in fire? No, Marco admitted. I saw nothing. I heard nothing. I only watched the water. The old man leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper that seemed louder than thunder. That, my child, is the secret. You were so focused on the glass that your mind became silent. No past haunted you. No future frightened you. There was only the present moment. And in that moment, peace was already yours. Marco's lips parted, but no words came. For a long time, he stood frozen, the truth sinking into his heart. His storm had vanished, not because the world changed, but because he had. Migra the transformation. Tears welled in Marco's eyes. He placed the glass down and fell to his knees. Grandfather, he whispered, now I understand. Peace is not something I must chase in the world. It is something I must guard within myself, like I guarded this glass of water. The old man smiled gently. Yes, the present moment is your only true home. Live here, and the storm will never return. The sun had nearly vanished now. The sky burned with crimson and gold. Birds flew back to their nests, their wings slicing through the fading light. Marco rose slowly. He was no longer the same restless young man who had arrived at this house. Something had shifted. The storm inside him had dissolved, leaving behind a still, clear lake. As he walked back down the village road, the children laughed again. The dogs barked again. The merchants shouted again. But this time Marco heard them all, and yet his heart was calm. For he now carried the greatest secret of life. Peace is not found outside. It is discovered within. And so, Marco's journey became more than a story. It became a lesson. If we can hold our focus in the present, just as he held the glass of water, no past regret nor future fear can disturb us.